Well, I've been working on bedding over the last day and a half, cutting in bedding areas. You can absolutely tell the deer where to bed. On this property, it was wide open spaces under the timber, but I came in here, had a beautiful swath of ash trees between all these oaks that are around me. So busted out the chainsaw, cut in this bedding. Let me show you what I was up to. Well, the sun's gonna mess with me here, but there was the big goal. Busted a nice hole in the canopy. I got burr oaks literally all the way around this island of ash trees. But I don't know that I've ever done a bedding cut where I have as many bedding pockets as I have in this one. So I was able to hinge some of these ash, and I got spots like this set up all the way through. Look at this beautiful bed. All the way through this cut. Escape, escape, and two more escapes back there. You got a little bit of canopy overhead, and just a wonderful place to lay down where the deer don't feel boxed in. And I bet I got 3 dozen of these in this cut. Now as I move through this, you can see there are a million trails. This understory was loaded with burdock, stinging nettle, and Canadian nettle. It's what the deer have to eat besides the egg, and they're actually browsing on all this. I don't know that I've ever seen that before, but hopefully with a little sunlight we can get some woody regeneration. Here's another spot with a beautiful bed. They can kick out over there, there, and there. I mean, escapes everywhere in this bedding cut. So out on the exterior of this bedding cut, there's 2 stands set up, one down there and one down there. So I made sure to leave a nice open run all the way through this edge. So when the deer come off the egg, which is that way, and they filter back through the bedding, especially if the wind's blowing the right way, this will be downwind side of bedding. Those deer will run this side, and they should be within 20 yards of bow stands. There you can see the browse on some of this nettle, browse on the burdock. Crazy. Deer are definitely hungry here. Just not a lot of good native browse for them to eat, so that was a big motivation for not trying to hinge some of these ash trees, because if I can't get woody regeneration, that's an argument for hinge cuts right there. You don't always get woody regeneration because the forest floor might be full of not great plant species, but if I can get some of these ash trees to stay alive, at least then I'll have food right in the deer's face. Well, this is a bad example. That was a flush cut. You can see that was a dead tree. But you got a big bushy tree up there. That's just a salad bar for the deer. There you can see here's some hinge trees. I mean, they're able to browse on all this. It's all in their reach now. The treetops are in their reach. If I flush cut it all, we'd get stump sprouts, which are great browse, but it wouldn't all be it wouldn't be the tonnage that I can get with having some hinged ash trees. Again, this is a bedding nook, multiple escapes. Beautiful spot for them. On the edges of this cut, I got over a dozen of these just jump off so they can get out. And I'm letting them bed right on the edge. There's an open spot, hinged ash, and they can tuck right into these kinds of pockets. There's a big runway heading out to the edge. And I got a nice open middle here too. I like that when I can have cover all the way around it. I have some big open pockets in the middle. The deer seem to really respond to that. See, there was a big ash that I flush cut. Now I tried to leave these at like chest level when I cut them completely off, because what's going to happen is that the ash will sprout all the way around this, literally all the way up the trunk, and it's going to make an absolute salad bar for the deer. When browse is our biggest issue on this property, I want tonnage, I want food in here. So I did flush cut a lot and cut them up a little bit higher so that they sprout all the way up the trunk. give the deer something great to eat. They love browsing on ash. Alright, you can see here just another one of those beautiful little pockets. In these spots like this, where they can lay down and they can get out there, and not maybe even, yeah, it's actually not very thick right there. They could slip out that way if they needed to. This is where they take up residence. They love these spots, and on a property like this, there's high hunting pressure around it, so the deer will move into this very, very heavy in the fall. We'll get some usage in the summer. There's tons of deer on this property, so I'm sure they'll use it right away, but the fall is when they'll really start to push in. I mean, you can see they make a decent hinge. What I found, if they have a pretty good top to them, they'll hinge good. If they're just kind of a big stick, they split and they can barber chair, so they can get a little dicey. So you got to know what you're doing if you're going to be hinge cutting ash. If you're not very comfortable with the chainsaw, please just do flush cuts, or just try hinging the smaller trees. I mean, that's what I advise anyway, is try to stick to smaller, manageable trees, stuff like that, when doing most of your hinge cuts. And I love these bedrooms that look like this stuff up here. They really do like the canopy, and I was able, because it was all ash, I could just stack in little spots for them to bed. Just left that for them. Here's one that got about 7 trees on top. I mean, look at that. Here'd be where they'd bed, right up next to this guy. I mean, look at that view. That is beautiful. Even cut out right that way if they want to. Actually, they got a nice lookout that direction as well. They love these spots. And those ash, if they stay alive, they'll sprout and they can reach up and browse all that stuff that's up on top, and the treetops obviously are still in their reach as well. So these just little canopy beds make great bedding locales. Alright, we're cutting back through kind of up the gut here. And this is one you can't even get lost in. I don't even quite know where I'm at. It got big on me quick. Nice little bedding nook. But I am confident the deer will respond. Like I've said, the big thing when you make these kinds of bedding cuts, there's a nice little bedding spot right up in here. You can see the bed right there, and it just keeps going out that direction. When you make these bedding cuts, more trails the better. The more open you make it, the more the deer are going to use it. 20-30% of the work is cutting the trees, and then the rest of the work is manipulating it and making it work for the deer. Bedding spot right there. And here we come into another beautiful canopied bed. Too bad I didn't have clouds, because it might be a little tougher to see with all this bright sun. Well, that was the project for today. Well, I should say for the last day and a half. Took a quick break here. Now we're going to go get back at it for the afternoon. So you all take care. God bless.